Hello, hello. We're going live. I will wait a couple of minutes for people to show up and for our very special guest to show up. If you haven't seen the news, today I have the very special honor of having Carly from Tidy Revival is going to be on here with us in a second. If you've been here for a while, you probably know all about Carly. She is the decluttering, home organizing queen, and she specializes in helping women specifically create clutter-free homes so they have more time and more space to be with the ones and the things that they love the most. And here she is. Do we have Carly? There she is. Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. So the format of this is going to be, Carly is going to be very graciously giving us all of her tips, and then she's going to be, giving us a sneak peek at something really special that's very exciting, and then we'll be answering some of your questions about closet organization, any kind of like decluttering, capsule wardrobes, whatever. So without further ado, I will kick it off to you.
Thank you. So I've got a bunch of notes for today. I'm very excited. Always stoked to talk with you about closet organization, wardrobe refining. I feel like it's always great when we're pairing up on this topic. So really happy to be tag teaming with you again on this specifically. Okay, so first, I know you wanted to touch on like seasonal wardrobe switches.
Yeah, I feel like it's springtime. People have that bug, the spring cleaning bug, and it's time to remove the sweaters, put in all of your spring florals and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you're a really big proponent of doing your seasonal wardrobe switch. I am too. I am really a big fan. And again, this changes for everybody what the right way is for them. I'm really a big fan of having like a small amount of items that I can select from every season. I know that you are as well.
Yeah.
And just being really intentional about what I'm looking at every single day so that I'm not having to have my brain make micro decisions about things that don't even matter. So whether you're doing a wardrobe like switch and you're taking those items and they're putting them somewhere else, I have a dresser in my closet, and the dresser is filled with items that are off season. So they're just kind of out of sight, out of mind. And then I basically have my hanging items. Most people would be very sad. My hanging items are about this big, and then I have like 2 drawers, and that's what I'm picking from throughout the season. But it works because all the things are like, I love them, they fit, they go together, they work in my style, and I'm happy with them. And then the other thing that it does is that you are touching your clothes on a season by season basis. So it means that 4 times a year, you're automatically going through your clothes, deciding what you are over, what doesn't fit, what doesn't really match your style. You're figuring out if there are items that need to be recycled. I'm going to tell you right now, I have a new vendor for textile recycling that I'm obsessed with called Retold Recycling.
Okay.
You sign up, you're essentially paying for shipping, and they send you bags. Each bag holds about like a paper bag, like a Trader Joe's bag full of clothing. But you can put your old socks, your old underwear, you could put shoes in there, you could put the jeans or the sweatpants that have so many holes that you're like, I cannot donate this.
That is great, because I never know what to do with that kind of stuff. That's great.
Yeah, they're fantastic. This is not sponsored. I don't work with them. I hope I do one day because I'm obsessed with them. But it's great. You can do a subscription too, where they can send you, 4 bags a year. So one is going to come, and you just kind of collect for it when you need to. Yeah. And then when it gets here, it's all in a prepaid shipping label. The bags are like compostable. So then you just send it away, and it's fantastic. Anyway, not trying to go on a retold tangent, but it happens sometimes. Okay, so the other thing that's great about the seasonal wardrobe is that you're also figuring out what gaps are in your wardrobe for the season, which
Yeah.
is where you come in to help people fill them. And so I just wanted to, if you're
Yeah.
not working with Missy in that way,
Thanks.
um, okay, so I'm just gonna run through a bunch of like
Yeah.
decluttering and organizing tips. I'm just gonna go on a little soapbox about closet organization, and then we'll go from there. Okay, number one, always my number one. We're decluttering first, but it is so important to me to relay to people that before you start your decluttering and organizing projects, you want to make a plan. And this is because you want to make sure that you're giving yourself a win and not overwhelm, which is super easy to do. And I see a lot of advice out there, and this can work for some people. I know for the folks that I work with, it's not necessarily the best idea, but the advice out there is like, take everything out. And I think in closets, I kind of despise this advice. The reason is, especially if you have a closet full of hanging items, it's so much harder to actually go through them than once they're out of the closet. And I think it's much more important that you're working in smaller chunks in things that you can do in like 20 minutes at a time and give yourself a win instead of this like I love all the hearts. I'm like, people
Yeah.
like, thank you. It sucks. And I've seen it, even on TV shows. Thank you, Vidi. Even on TV shows, it's like, okay, take everything out. And then you cut to the next person with a mountain of clothes and they're like, oh yeah, I'm just over here. It's definitely not overwhelming. It's super fine. And I'm not freaking out at all. And I'm like, I'm freaking out looking at that. You can't see anything.
Yeah,
So
I've definitely done that. Knowing that it was going to be a full day and I was like mentally prepared for that. But by the end of the day, I'm like, it's dinner time. There's still a mountain of clothes on my bed. And this might have been a mistake.
yeah. And then people are like, well, at least I have to sleep in my bed, so I know I'll do it tonight. I'm here to tell you that's not always the case. For every person who puts the pile away, there's a whole other person who's sleeping on the couch for a week. And like seriously, because it's like it's so overwhelming at that point, and then they're like, you know what? I'm over it. I'm just over it. And it's a thing. So do not do this. Instead, this is what I suggest. We're going to go section by section. And if you are going through your hanging items, like do it, spot by spot. Just pick a small 20-minute section and you're going to just kind of gently, you don't even have to take it off the rack. Just pull the garment out to see what it is. And you're going to say, okay, keep, you move on. Is it a donate? And you know it is. That happens too. Okay, cool. We'll take that off the hanger. We're going to take those extra hangers. We're going to set them aside so that they're all together later. And if it's a maybe or I need to try on or that sort of thing, also fine. That's going to actually come out of the closet and be its own pile. And we'll go through that separately at the end. So the maybes and the try-ons. And when you have a pile where you're like, okay, this is enough. It doesn't need to be your whole closet, but maybe like at a resting spot for that day. Then go ahead and try those items on. A lot of times too, maybes don't end up making the cut because you get through everything and then you're like, okay, actually I have enough. Like I'm good. And I love these, but these I was on the fence about.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know how you feel about this, but my new policy is if I'm at the store and I'm like, is this ugly or is this cute? I'm like, this is a no.
Yeah. I will sometimes talk to clients and they'll be talking about everything they don't like about something. I'm like, but I don't know if I should keep it. I'm like, it really sounds like you don't like it.
Yeah. And a lot of times it can be like, oh, this was, it doesn't really work for me. Like the color's not right or the fit, but it was on sale. And I'm like, that's
right.
not a reason to buy it. And it's not a reason to keep it. Bless somebody else with it. So basically go through it section by section and you're not going to give yourself double work in that way. You're going to be able to just make quick decisions. This is the way that I do it with clients. If your closet is so full that you need a little bit of breathing room, then sometimes I've used like a clothes hanger to take a section off and be able to have more bandwidth. If you don't have one of those, it's really not you're going to be fine. Just take it a little section at a time. You're good. You're going to make bandwidth as you go. Okay. That's really the biggest thing on, but so I'm like, just don't take everything out for the love of God.
Yeah.
But it makes it really easier to decide, as we talked about. So it's going to be keep, donate, recycling, the try on, and the maybe. And make decisions based on, I'm going to tell you two things, the number rule and then how it corresponds with the space rule. So the number rule is something that I use. You can use this concept in any space in your home, any space. So what it is deciding the right number for you, not based on what I say. It's not me saying like, you should have 12 shirts. It's what is the right number for you? And that could be that you feel like 12 shirts is the right number. It could be that you feel like 12 or 24 shirts, whatever it is. Or, especially in closets, it could be that you want your shirts to go in this drawer, and in that drawer, it fits 20 shirts. So then 20 becomes the right number for you so that you can put things away. I say this, I was just saying this on a Q&A call. I had a Q&A call with my students right before this too. So the number one thing that I see in rooms where there's like a laundry backlog issue, if people are like, I can't seem to just like get caught up on the laundry, I ask, if everything is clean, are you able to put it away? Because usually that's where the cog is. It's that they've maxed out of space. Their closet is too packed. They don't have enough hangers or hanging room for everything. Their dressers are too full. So they're really living in like the top of the dresser drawers and the bottom hasn't been gone through in a while. And I find that once we go through those spaces and then maybe also implement a seasonal wardrobe switch, or depending on the decluttering job, that's no longer necessary. We've made the bandwidth just by like revisiting those old items. Then we're able to like figure out where the cog was, fix it, and then you can get your laundry done. You can get rid of the clothing piles. But that number rule for closets is really going to be corresponding to space a lot of times. So just remember, like, where do you want this to be? If you want your hanging items to be here for like your long hang dresses and you can fit 20 hangers, then your number is probably going to be 20, unless you're doing a big seasonal rotation and storing those things elsewhere. So just keep that in mind, because that ends up being, you know, when you do a lot of times like a first round of decluttering, it can be like, okay, well, I like this, therefore keep. But then after you go through everything, you could like, but then also not be able to actually store things and be completely maxed out on your storage space. So liking may not be enough. Then it's like, all right, let's get all those shirts together and let's pick our favorites until they fit in the place that we need them to fit.
Yes. What I really like about your number rule, and I think I've heard it from you first actually in your course, is that I've worked with a lot of clients that have a lot of a specific thing. It's often jeans. Women love jeans. And they'll have 100 pairs, 50 pairs. But realistically, you're not wearing that. You could get down to maybe 10 or 20 pair. Like, I mean, and that's a lot. If you're wearing them every day even, that's like more than half a month. You have a different pair of jeans. So really, realistically, you're not wearing all of them, even if you like all of them, and you could pare it down and not even notice.
100%. And it's this like thinking about that as far as like, okay, if I'm wearing, like, how often am I doing my laundry? How many pairs of jeans do I need for that? And do I already have, you know, 5 other pair of dark wash high-waisted skinnies?
Right.
And
just pick your favorite, and then you're always wearing your favorite clothes.
Yeah, especially when it comes down to like, okay, I have like these 3 black sweaters. They're very, very similar, but this one's the one I really like. All right. Well then let's go with that one. Like, why keep the ones that aren't your favorites when you have the favorite? Then you can just have that in the rotation. And then, yes, like in theory, you're going to need to replace 1 pair of jeans faster than you would 3 pairs of jeans, but then you're making bandwidth for another pair of jeans that you really, really like versus more clothes that you're just feeling lukewarm about. The last tip that comes up a lot, and it can come up in a lot of different ways, is using your vertical space. A big thing in closets is shoes. And I want to give an example of just one product. I could talk all day about products, so I won't. But I use two different versions of this type of product just in my own home, and it's the same concept that I talk about a lot. Okay, so I know tons of people love shoes, right? Shoes are lots of people's favorites. And then a thing that happens is that there's a lot of vertical space at the top of the closet. So then it's shoebox, 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 shoebox. Well, when you're getting to have shoe boxes that are like 6 high, and then you want to grab the one at the bottom, then you have to do this action and like the hope that it doesn't like fall on you. Also for the cover of this live, I hope that it's just
I'll try to find it.
Yeah. So like that problem, which is universal, we've all been there, where you're doing the pull and also trying to block and pulling and just like praying it doesn't fall on you. So I like to think of any organizing solutions that are going to solve the problems that are just annoying the crap out of us every single day. That's one of them. A product that I use in my own closet, like I have some like occasion heels. And so I basically took them all out of shoe boxes, and I have acrylic shoe drawers, and those ones are from the Container Store. I don't have them here because I'm going to show you a different product, but essentially there's an acrylic drawer and you can pull it all the way out. So they stack, you pull it all the way out, you grab whatever shoes, and then you put it back in. I'm not needing to do the lift and pull. The other version of that I have in a different space are the drop front shoe boxes. So again, they stack. I'm like, what can I do with one hand? And then you're able to see the pair of shoes that you need, grab it. So even if it's up high and you have a little step stool, and you can still grab what you need, but you don't have to do the lift and pull situation. So basically all organizing solutions usually fall under a couple of things. One is use your vertical space. And another thing to consider is to figure out the thing that's bugging you and create your solutions around that versus what you're seeing online is very trendy. Right. Especially if those things seem like they will be too complicated to keep up with on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Let them go. They're not worth it. Don't do it. And then anyone who's ever followed me or heard anything I've ever said will be like, hey, lady, broken record. But it's fine with me, is to declutter first and then plan your solutions so that you're not basing your solutions off of what you think you're going to need, off of like not measurements, off of just what's trendy and what Instagram ads are telling you that you should get. Instead, declutter and then figure out what is the problem that you're looking to solve and how can I best utilize my space.
Yeah.
And then buy your products. Yeah. But my segue to the exciting thing that we're going to talk about is that, like, okay, I'm going to get started decluttering. And we've talked about a couple organizing tips. But then what happens is people are like, okay, well, I got some tips. But really what I need to know is not only like some tips that are going to work in my space, but like how does an organizer create the solutions? Yeah. And how can I get accountability? Like I need accountability. I need somebody I can ask questions with. I need somebody who doesn't care that I'm coming up with like 20 questions a week on this topic where some of your friends are like, we get it. You're decluttering and organizing. Cool. And you need the support, you need the accountability, you want someone's eyes on your space, but you don't necessarily want to pay the price of having an in-home organizer with you every couple weeks. And you're like, can I get like that concept, but at a better price point and maybe for like a longer period of time? And that's where my course community comes in. So we basically teach folks how to get started decluttering, how to get items out of your house in all different aspects. So like the textile recycling that we talked about, that's one type of example. Then we talk about how to declutter through the tough stuff, sentimental items kept out of guilt. And just really, we spent a whole module just working through those emotional items. We also talk about how to create solutions. So basically taking information out of an organizer's brain, putting it in a way people can understand so that they can create solutions in their homes, and then how to maintain it. and giving people support and accountability along the way for a full year. That's what the course community is all about. And I'm not just leaving you high and dry with course modules, but we also have live Q&A calls twice a month, and we have a private Facebook group. So, you know, I'm in there 5 days a week answering people's questions. We have accountability built in so people can say their goals. We pop up and say, hey, you said you were working on this. You said this was your deadline. What's going on? And check in, cheer people on, celebrate wins. Yeah, and so the big thing that we're talking about, and I know I'm rattling on, I know we're gonna answer questions. I will stop talking soon. But today we launched our bonus blowout that I'm hosting for the course community. I'm so excited about it. And basically what's happening is that this is going to be the last time that we're offering the course community at this price. So to celebrate that, from now through May 6th, we're having a giant bonus blowout where new students, and actually we're offering the bonuses to our existing students too, so we're not leaving anybody out, but everyone's getting just a bunch of bonuses. People are getting access to 8 different workshops, 7 of which are the Tidy Tips workshop series. So it's like my specific tips for different spaces in your home, kitchen organization, pantry, bathroom, garage, and more. I left my water on the other side of the room, so I'm like, we also are giving access to a photo organization workshop that we held in March. And the only folks who've had access to this are folks who signed up for the course, and then our course students, and new students will have access to that for 5 more months. Then we also have a 3-month subscription to Paper Me Pretty that we are offering, which is a digital stationery subscription, which I love because so many folks that I know love stationery and like love using it and love having it, but they end up getting a lot of it and then not necessarily using all the things. So we have to declutter it. And this, instead, they send you a bundle every single month of like 25 plus items, and you print what you need, which I've found wildly helpful. And actually, I left something on my desk, so I just have to grab it along with my water.
Yeah. Well, I watched your video that you did this morning with Paper Me Pretty, and it's such a cool service. The idea that you get something new every month and it's like a little surprise present, but it's not actually creating clutter. Like a lot of subscription services, they're fun because it's like a little surprise present, but now you have all this clutter in your house.
Yeah.
So this is great.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of different things in here that I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I had a little test into it because, you know, we were partnering and I needed to see the product, but am I going to be a member of this subscription service? 100%.
Yeah.
This is May's design. It's more modern than some other designs. Last month was more floral. The month before that was like watercolor, adventure theme. Yeah. But this is this is the goal tracker for May, so you can put your goals down, and then there's a box for every single day of the month. And I'm going to be using this to get back on track with some specific goals that I've fallen off a little bit because none of us are perfect. Very excited about that. Another one that I used recently was a vacation packer list. I just came back from a trip. I used that. Goal planning. She also holds goal planning workshops every single month in the course community, and she's just an absolute joy. So Elisa from Paper Me Pretty, we're offering new students a 3-month subscription. It's on Tidy Revival to say thanks for coming in. And then the biggest bonus of all is that we're offering a buddy pass for all new students. So you get to decide on a friend, or you could go to that friend and say, hey, do you want to split this cost and us both get 50% off? You can do that too, whatever you want. But yeah, basically you get to pick a friend, and then after you sign up, one of the things we send you is like, okay, let us know who your buddy is. And then the week of May 9th, we're adding in all those folks too. So you get to invite a friend who will also get all the other bonuses too for free too. So the bonuses, the course itself costs the same as working with me in home for 6 hours, and you get a year of support and accountability and my eyes on your space and me giving you advice along the way and me giving you a rundown of all the knowledge in my brain, and then $1,100 worth of bonuses too. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And with the buddy pass, it could be 50% off, or you could gift that to someone. Like Mother's Day is coming up. That sounds like a pretty amazing Mother's Day gift too.
Hmm. Absolutely. Or if you and your friend are like, oh, we should really get organized. Yeah, me too. We should really get organized. This is the way to jumpstart it for you both, where you're able to do it with somebody, but you've got this whole system in place. So you don't have to start from scratch, and you don't have to go through the literal hundreds of hours that I did when I was getting organized, because I was not a naturally organized person. My passion for all things organization came from being insanely chronically disorganized and having like figure it out for myself. But having such a stress reduction because of it, and having so much less anxiety, and having my life just becoming so much easier
Mm-hmm.
in implementing simple systems is really where Tidy Revival came from in the first place.
Yeah, well, I am a proud affiliate of this because I know Carly. I love Carly, and I know that everything she does is amazing. This course is great. So if you use my link to sign up, I will get a kickback, but I love you so much. If you don't, if that feels weird to you, you can also go directly to Carly and sign up through her link. Like, no, nothing bad. I just want more people to get in this course.
I was saying the same thing earlier because I was doing my live with Lisa. I'm like, extra support her. Like, we're all like, it's, whatever, it's fine. I'm really excited I've never had an affiliate program like this before, but when we decided that we wanted to add in so many bonuses, we were like, this just makes sense. Because there's the thing that I love about the creative community, not only in Sacramento, but just with like other online business owners that I've met, people who are in similar spaces, is that everyone is so supportive of each other. I know that this isn't the first time that you and I have done in like collaborations. We did the ultimate closet detox guide together. We were on Good Day together.
Yeah.
And and we've known each other for a long time now, and it's basically my way to say like, hey, other business owners, if this is something that you're going to share anyway, and I know that you probably will because you've shared in the past and been so gracious, it's my way of being able to say thank you for that. If folks who are wanting to join this community and see that value, I want to say thank you to the people who have supported me along the way. So I appreciate you, Missy.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
And
yeah. If you have anything else you want to say about that before we go into questions.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say as like an overall statement, if anybody does have questions, any specifics about the course community, I know the link that you're sharing has a rundown of everything like that you get in the community. It's all for a full year. It has the price. There's 2 different pricing options. But if you have other questions, feel free to DM me anytime. Myself or my teammate Brittany will get back to you. And we're happy to answer questions along the way. And this all goes until May 6th. May 6th is the last day.
Yeah. So opening today, ending May 6th.
Yeah.
We've got a little more than a week.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well, we have a couple questions here, and then I have some in my notes, but we'll answer the ones live first. So what do you suggest for items that you don't fit, but you plan to fit in the future?
Great question. This happens a lot. It happens a lot for postpartum mamas, but even if you're not postpartum and you just have plans, what I ask people to think about is what your concrete plans are. Like, are you actively working? Do you have like an active nutrition fitness program that you're working in for weight loss, or is it something that's kind of like an abstract maybe? Another thing to think about over the last 2 years, as so many things have changed, I feel like there's definitely a lot more people, myself included, where some things where you're like, well, it'd be nice to, there's a lot of things I've just kind of like let go of. Like
Yeah.
I don't care anymore
Yeah.
about certain numbers that felt like the thing that I needed to try and work towards before. And so I think it's just important to sit down with yourself, not even like a rash decision. Take a cozy beverage, sit down in silence with yourself and think about what your actual priorities are, removing should from the equation. What do you care about? And I would build your wardrobe around that because your opinion is number one, and anything outside of that is just
Yeah.
completely unimportant.
Yeah, I agree with that. Generally, my philosophy is if it doesn't fit right now, you don't need to keep it. However, if you are working specifically towards a goal, you've changed your diet, you've changed your exercise, you're moving toward that goal, you can keep those things, but don't keep them in your closet where you're getting dressed every day. Because it's only discouraging to have like half of your clothes not fit you. Move them into storage somewhere so that when you get there, you can transfer your clothes. But you don't have to feel bad or just like have half of your closet dedicated to clothes you can't even wear.
Yeah, I have a definite section of mine that's more, like that's where my wedding dress is. My husband's suits are. I don't think he's worn a suit in 2 years. We've just like moved those
Yeah.
over to this other section. And so it removes it from the decision making part of your day.
Yeah.
And those micro decisions, they can wear you down,
Hmm.
brain width
Yeah.
wise.
And then one other thing I'll say about this is, so that I mean, I gained weight over quarantine. I have clothes that don't really fit. And yeah, I think a lot of us, a similar story. And so I went through my clothes and I got rid of a lot of stuff and I kept some things for, maybe, but only the things that I really love and I think would be difficult to replace. So just like a pair of jeans that doesn't fit, I don't need that. I can get jeans that fit me at whatever size I am. But like really specific pieces that are like, this is something that I just probably won't find again. I kept a few of those for like a just in case, and we'll see. We'll see how long they stick around.
Totally agree. I have a pair of jeans. Finally broke down and was like, you know what? I'm just going to get a pair of jeans that make me feel great right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
And they're maybe the favorite jeans I've ever worn. Like I feel so badass in them, much more than ones that I'm like squeezing into and then making, having me feel bad. But did I keep, a Madewell jumper that I stocked on ThreadUp and then eBay? Like, yes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll see if it makes the rotation ever again. And if not, then I'll take it to article and we'll go from there.
yeah. Okay. Next question from here is, what is your favorite laundry hamper?
Ooh,
It's a good
that's a
one.
good question. Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts about laundry hampers.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, I think the biggest thing for laundry hampers is deciding on your budget because your budget is really going to inform like where you're buying your laundry hampers and what and also, material. There's a lot of laundry hampers out there and they're not created equal. Number one, if you're really hoping for more of like a wicker situation, but you want to spend under $100, it's going to be in your best interest to go in person to like the Rosses, the Home Goods, and stock, which I'm not a huge fan of those stores for my job
Yeah,
because I need to plan for clients. I need to be able to see measurements online, and I don't have the time to go from store to store for
yeah,
a bunch of people to like see if things fit. I need to be able to do research on time on online and be efficient.
yeah,
So for me it doesn't work out. But that being said, if you're like, listen, I'm hoping for, I have like a $50 price point, a $40 to $60 price point, and I really want it to be like a wicker, a sea, basket type of thing, then I would head to those stores because you're probably going to have your best bet there.
hmm,
If you're like, well, I want it more name brand, I want it to be that same type of material, my budget is more like $200, then you can go to a Pottery Barn or a Crate and Barrel or something, and you're going to find something very, very lovely. But I think it never ceases to amaze me how quickly like the price points jump for laundry hampers. And you can go from like a $10 cardboard situation or a $50 cardboard situation to something that's in the 200s. And you're like, what? And it feels very discouraging. I say this as someone who shopped for a lot of laundry hampers for other people. Dimensions are also very important. Many times when I'm looking at hampers, I'm looking for, like, people might specifically want segmented, specifically not want segmented. It's going to be about dimensions, and it's going to be about price point and materials. Mm-hmm. Another thing about laundry hampers, this wasn't planned. I just happened to have this here because I have this type of container. So this is an IKEA bin. Mm-hmm. It's very tall, as you can see. Yeah. It's very tall, and it's like $15. I keep it in my utility closet because it has one of those like shelves and then, 3-4 feet above it. So I basically put a whole bunch of extra blankets, pillows, that sort of thing. And then I just kind of like shove it up in the closet. These types of containers, I originally bought these when I was first organizing, and I was like putting bags inside, and I was trying to clip them, and we do donations and trash and stuff. But because they're so malleable, they would just constantly like flop and fall, and it was such a pain in the neck. So now I gave up on that. It can be good for like some like stuffed animals, some blankets, some pillows. Other than that, wouldn't recommend putting your laundry in it. It's just, they're too easy to collapse. And I think net, it's going to be more frustrating than it's worth long term. So I don't recommend things that can fold down super easily. And then lids too. Some people like lids. Some people don't like lids. I personally have like a wicker situation with a hinged lid. But I think I found it at Ross like 10 years ago for $45 or something. Yeah. And I see a lot of similar products that, again, are in like the $100, $200 range. And it just, that feels a little bit much for me and my budget. But, for somebody else, that might be a great deal, depending on the brand. So I think those are like the questions versus like what's my favorite. My favorite is the Ross find from 10 years ago. But those are the questions that I would ask myself, and then you'll know where to shop from there.
Yeah. I have one of those that it's like a cart that has wheels and then 2 like basket things that come out it's really functional. It is not attractive. So you kind of have to pick and choose what's important to you.
Yeah, I hear that too. And another interesting thing about hampers, I was working with a teen, and the mom was like frustrated because the teen had a lot of clothes like on the bottom of their closet. And we ended up dialing into it. They were like, what I really want is a second hamper. I want a second hamper, and I want it for clean clothes. And I want everyone to kind of like get off my back about whether they're wrinkled or hung up, and if they're put away. Like, if you give me a second hamper and just let me do my thing, I won't have them on the floor, because the floor ones are the clean ones. And if they're dirty, they're in the hamper. So they got a second hamper. It was filled with clean clothes, and then the system worked.
All right.
So, that's just a hamper story, but also a story about empowering teens to make their own organizing decisions. And it worked out.
Yeah, that's great. Thinking outside the box.
And I can't even take credit for it. It was all them.
Yeah, well, good for them. All right, the next question on here is, how many items of your clothes do you both have in your closet? I don't know the answer to this, actually. Do you?
Okay, so I used to, when I first got into capsule wardrobe, did you do Project 333?
I sort of did. I didn't do that specific number, but there was a time when I knew exactly the number in there.
Me too. Yeah, I think I started with Project 333, and then I think eventually I was like, well, if it's under 50 and that's, you know, not my underwear or my socks, but if it's this and if that's 50. And now I have more of a space. So I have 2 drawers, and that includes my socks. Like one is like socks, underwear, you know, bras, and like a couple sleep things. And then the next drawer is like jeans, shorts, casual pants, and then some shirts. And then I have a hanging section that's probably about, I mean, it's probably about that long of just hanging items. I will say I do have another section that's about this big, and it's all work wardrobe. So it's the shirts and my stretchy pants that I wear every session, and it's like the same thing, and I just wear it because it's comfortable and I can move in it, but it's also like I could bend over and nothing's like opening, and you know, it works really well for my weird job.
Yeah, I think I'm similar to you. I kind of have space, and what is in there is kind of what I can have. I have a dresser that has more of like workout gear, sleep stuff, underwear, etc. And then I have hanging space and some like folded jeans, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had to guess, maybe like including my work clothes, like the things that I'm wearing seasonally, besides underwear and socks, 50 to 60 items, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably where I am too, but I don't know. I'll have to count.
I know. Should I circle? Do you want me to circle back?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I will. I just got back from a trip last night, so I packed more in this trip than I have for any trip in the last 10 years, I swear. I was embarrassed for myself, and my friend had to like help me get out of the hotel. I'm like, oh my, what's happening? But so I like brought options. Like I was like, well, these are travel day and these are friend day, and then this is the conference. It was a whole, I got to put it all away after this call, actually.
Yeah.
Like, my bag is insane. So I'll know
Okay.
pretty quickly after
All
this.
right. Well, we'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now I have some questions from that were submitted before. Okay. So this is kind of similar. I've gained weight during the pandemic, so many clothes don't fit anymore. I'm embracing this new body and don't expect to lose the weight. What should I do with the clothes I'm sad to part with because I used to love them?
Do you want to kick this one off? I feel like we're gonna have similar advice.
Yeah, well, I think we sort of touched on this a little bit with like what we're doing, but you know, I hate to say like the Marie Kondo, like thank your clothes for what they gave to you, and then like send them on their way. You can either do like a friend swap and then get new clothes potentially that way. I give clothes to friends, but not everyone has friends that are all the same size, so clothing swaps don't always work out. You can sell clothes, you can donate. You were gonna say something.
Mercy Hogan is hosting a clothing swap this weekend. If anyone's in Sacramento, it's her handle is at, oh,
Is it Thrift Store Fly? Is that?
I want to say it's Plus Size Bestie.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to get the answer to this, and I'm gonna have to put this. I know. Now I have to like actually write things down. But I will drop it in the comments. But that's on Saturday, and it's like a $10 entry fee. You bring some clothes, you take some clothes. It's going to be amazing. And I think they're specializing in like large to 4X.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like that's my tip is, you know, you can appreciate what they did for you. Keep it if you think maybe one day, but if you've embraced your new body and you just want to move on, then yeah, you can sell. Sometimes selling is a pain, and I just like to donate if I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed, because then you can feel good about it. You can like send it off for someone else to love.
100%. I think that there's not, I think, I know, because I talk to people a lot about it. There's a lot of guilt around what I should do, and I should do it this right way. And it's a thing that becomes a stopper because that becomes so overwhelming that it's hard to take actual action.
Yeah.
So I say this even for decluttering. I'm all for donating, recycling, selling, doing these things. But even when it comes to other items that you're doing, if you're just like, I am so overwhelmed, I can't think about these like 4 things. I'm like, listen, if you need to get a dumpster and just like rid your house, here's your permission slip. I'm not saying that it's the most eco-friendly thing to do, but I'm saying that sometimes you need to rid yourself of anxiety more than you need to worry about like the right way to do 17 different things. I think I lost someone with that comment, but and for a lot of people that can really be the stopper. But there's a lot of, you know, if you're like, okay, I really want to do this, and I want to make these decisions, then the threshold becomes, what is your time worth for the selling? Because it can be a whole project, you know, Poshmark, you have to list it, you have to take pictures, you have to eBay, you have to do that process too. Or you could go, if you have, I always like to think like a Lululemon or above kind of brand threshold. You could take it to someplace like Article locally. They're fantastic. They'll do a quick turnaround and tell you like what is the buyout price? What is the consignment price? ThreadUp, you can do a clean out bag. They send you a bag, you put in all your clothes, and you just ship it away. Or actually, you might have to stop doing bags. You might have to provide your own box, but concept is the same.
Yeah.
Or you can donate. You know, locally, there's a lot of amazing organizations. If you have women's workwear, specifically, I will say if you're in Sacramento, connect with Women's Empowerment. They are always looking for women's workwear, and the women that they're helping transition out of homelessness, that's who is getting those clothing. It makes a whole big difference in their program, and they're amazing folks doing an amazing work up there. But also, you know, Weave is another amazing organization. Goodwill, I love Goodwill. Goodwill, a lot of people don't realize that they support smaller organizations in the region that wouldn't have the funding without that parent company. So places like Windy Youth Services that help homeless and runaway teens locally have a safe place and to get dinner and stay the night. That's an amazing organization. They're doing good work. So Goodwill helps fund Windy Youth Services. So just decide what's right for you, stress level wise.
Yeah. So, okay, next question. This is also, there's a theme here. What if you really truly are going to lose the pandemic weight? Should you keep the things that are a little too small? And I think we already said, like, if you really truly, you're already starting, you're doing it.
Yes. Not like gonna next January.
Right. Like, I'm sure someday I will fit again. Like, just when you get there, you can get new clothes. But if you're not actively working toward it, I wouldn't keep it. And even if you are, I would put it somewhere kind of out of sight for a while.
Yeah, I completely agree about, you know, you're making micro decisions off of items that you can't wear right now, and there's no point. And I completely echo your sentiments that it's just discouraging and not motivating. And you want to have, I know we both are like very on board with having a selection of clothes that fit you and make you feel fabulous right now.
Yeah. And I do want to acknowledge the comment about the hamper. I will look into that. Thank you. Someone said there's a Target Whitmore Easy Lift 3-bag triple laundry sorter. That sounds like maybe that's attractive and functional. So I'll look into that.
I mean, Target's got some great finds.
Yeah. Okay. Are there some things that you should keep no matter what, like designer bags or shoes?
I'm going to say no.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think that it goes for anything. It could be, items that some people might be like, I can't believe you got rid of this. But my clients, I was like, do you care? Do you want to keep this? And they're like, no. Wedding dress, parents' clothes that were passed down, their own baby clothes that were passed down, t-shirt collections. Can I tell you guys a mini rant? about the t-shirt quilt that everyone is going to make at some point. There's services for that. Make the quilt, don't make the quilt, it's fine, but I don't believe in having a box of t-shirts for this quilt that like you're gonna make at some point. And these like, and I see this a lot, like this comes up a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan, only because most people never do it. It's just this like ongoing project that then just takes up mental space. Yeah, no one wants that quilt. That quilt's not going to be that cute, right?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not that cute. Your intramural tee from like sophomore year of college probably doesn't go with your current decor. I don't know. Maybe it does.
Yeah. Yeah, like that junior year, my junior year band shirt. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that on my bed. I don't.
Yeah.
And if you do, it's fine. But go to Etsy, look up t-shirt quilt, and like pick a service and go for it. Go for it. But don't let that box of t-shirts take up space in your closet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's definitely I'm not a fan of the word should when it comes to keeping things. There's a lot of things that we end up keeping because there's a lot of guilt attached, and it's not items that we give any craps about. And so I'm a really big proponent in, if it doesn't serve you specifically, not your spouse, not your parents, not your kids, like you, what do you think? What do you care about? And let's build your life around that to make room for the things that matter to you specifically.
Yeah. And specifically talking about like designer bags and shoes, if you don't want them, like those are things you can actually sell pretty easily and get a pretty good return value on. So if you don't want them, should make money for what you do want.
Yeah. I've gotten rid of a vintage Fendi that I'm pretty sure was real, because this was, I mean, it was too ratty to like be fake, honestly. But I found it at a Goodwill boutique when I was in college, and I was like freaking out. I let it go. I had a pair of brand new Jimmy shoes that I got at a giveaway that ended up being like a half size too large, and they just weren't going to work. And I gave those away to my sister. They didn't end up working for her. She gave them to a friend. Like, you know, I'm not worrying about getting money for them.
Yeah.
And just let them go.
Yeah. Also a great gift, like designer bag. Yeah.
Fantastic. I had a client once who realized out through the decluttering process that she was like, you know, I love bags. I love bags. As we did it, she was like, you know what? I actually realized I don't love using handbags. I love buying handbags on vacation. And then so she just gave a bunch of beautiful leather imported handbags to her friends, and we donated a bunch, and she kept the ones that she actually used, which is like, it was like 3 out of, 25 or something.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I have like one handbag. I have like a couple different sizes, but I don't want to switch all of my stuff every day. I've got one.
I have of true handbags. I have 2 that I really wear. There's like my small crossbody that's a Coach. There's my mid-size if I like have to take things. That's a Coach. Hey, Lindsay. And then there is a vintage one that was my grandmother's. And then I have a couple of like, they're like makeup bags that I use as clutches, is what they really truly are. And that's sometimes. But yeah, not a big fan of handbag collections anymore. It used to be.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Do you have label recommendations for clothing bins, specifically used for like off-season